Hello, folks. We have a first here. It's my first coach on the Ken Matias Sports Podcast, episode 10. I got Wareham Vikings girls varsity basketball coach Mike Fortune. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. So, like I just said off air, I mean, we can just reflect on, Wareham season and, how you got there and your career in basketball if you just want to start with that.
Sure, absolutely. I grew up in Wareham. Learned how to play in the JBA program with some people that were great leaders in basketball: Kenny Fonts, Bruce Cardoza, David Silver, Don Don Gomes. A lot of great people that really put a great effort into making sure that the basketball program was strong, in Wareham through my entire youth. So that's really where I learned to play. And then I ended up at Bishop Stang High School, played 3 years there, and then I that was where I stopped playing. I didn't play any college ball. I played a lot of intramural stuff up at UMass Amherst, and then just continued to play locally and pick up, and even up until a year or two ago, really before COVID, I was still playing in men's league. So um, that's basically what I did during my basketball career. And then as far as coaching, I started coaching with my son. He's 24 now. Started with the Born Travel Program. I had a great group of young men that I coached for, straight through. They were fourth through eighth. And then coached the same thing, my travel program in Born, when my youngest daughter, who is now 19, she got into basketball. And then when she got to high school, I was an assistant coach at Bourne, helping Craig Davidson at first, and then Steve Wenzel after that. So when my daughter graduated a year or two ago, and I told Steve at that point in time that I was going to try to go out and get a full-time head coaching job and anywhere in the area that I could, make it work with my full-time job, and then obviously being able to balance the basketball situation. So thankfully, I've got a great couple of bosses, and my company is really lenient as far as
hmm
allowing me in the winter to go and do that. So I couldn't really be more thankful to them for allowing me to do that. The Wareham job, obviously, as you all know, was in flux after great leadership. David Bergioli stepped down a few years back, and then a couple of other coaches had come in, and I don't really know what happened. Obviously, not being there with them,
hmm
um, my guess is that they just couldn't really gain any traction with the girls and the program, and it was a lot of work this past year. But uh, when it came available, I had already coached and did some stuff with some of the girls in Wareham through either AAU programs or just when I was at Bourne, we used to run just kind of an open gym for high school players that wanted to just kind of keep getting shots up and getting a little bit of running. And we'd have a couple of girls from Wareham that would come in. And obviously, I knew a couple of girls that were at Bourne playing for us at the time that lived in Wareham through, they were at Bourne through school choice. So when that job became available, I interviewed for it. And I talked to both Ed and Scott in the interview, and I asked them, what they were looking for in their new coach, and they basically both said they needed some stability, which I was all for. I mean, I've been coaching for a long time, so both the other guys that were prior to me were younger, and I think just getting started. So I don't know if they really knew what they were in for or had the right mind frame to coach. Because anybody that's done it typically doesn't walk into a brand new situation that is kind of in dire straits at the time because there's
hmm
no real leadership, and it's kind of just out there on its own. So I thankfully was awarded the job, and it was great. It was a great first season. We ended up moving into the MAC division, which was new for us, and probably, quite honestly, where we belonged based off of the numbers at the school. They're not growing, and a lot of these smaller town schools are going through the same thing. They're getting sub 100 kids per class.
hmm
They don't even have 100 kids in each particular class. I mean, even if you split those in half, you get 40, 45 girls, And with girls, you're constantly competing with other sports, so out of those 40, you hope you get, 30 athletes, and then out of the 30 athletes are 15 of them, even want to play basketball. So the numbers and the ratios don't really work in favor of girls sports. And I don't really know, and that's in a lot of places, I don't really know what they're going to do. I've talked about allowing girls to double roster, and I know that comes with, a handful of issues with state tournaments and MIA guidelines. But in my opinion, if we want girls sports in general to continue to succeed, they can't be fighting over the
Hmm.
20 athletes that, are in each class. So I haven't really voiced that to too many people. I have talked to a couple of the coaches to see what they thought. Their immediate conversation was, well, it's against MIA rules. So, and I understand that, but at some point, somebody's got to, kind of go and be like, hey, here's, we're dying here, and we've got to figure out a way to make this happen. And I know they've done it in the past. There's been Wareham
Hmm.
athletes. Kara Ames, for one, was a standout athlete, and I know she played basketball and track in the winter. So, um, we do have some numbers issues, and I quite honestly, I just think these kids have so many school opportunities to choose from
Hmm.
that it's watered down the overall product. I mean, I'm much older than you, and certainly an old timer, but when we didn't have school choice, we didn't have charter schools. You either went to your town school or
Hmm.
you paid to go somewhere else. Those were your only two options. Um, so that's kind of where I am as far as the overall sports and girls and high school sports. But as far as our season, the MAC division is exactly where we belonged. Um, we were very successful. We were playing other schools that were, like population as far as overall numbers. We finished at, regular season 15-6. Um, Made the state tournament for the first time in, I think it was probably 7 or 8 years. I had a real good opportunity. We lost by 10 to a real good team, but we were up one at halftime. So I think we were right in it, and certainly, we were young, and I didn't have anybody that had ever been in that situation. So, my three seniors certainly weren't there. They were,
Hmm.
they had a combined 7 or 8 wins over their three prior seasons, so they certainly weren't necessarily, comfortable in that limelight. Not that they played poorly, we just didn't have anybody that had ever been there or experienced anything like that. So, um, I think overall I know for me it was a positive experience. I really, grew to, really like the girls. They worked hard. They came in, they were funny. Um, all the things that I was kind of worried about, wasn't worried about the basketball piece of it. I felt really confident that I'd be able to fix that part of it. But trying to get girls to enjoy coming to practice, enjoy working hard, enjoying the sport, that was worrisome for me. But I think we got through there, and I had a real good captain in Kira Pierre, who was real helpful, and right from the get go, kind of started talking to the players even before I had met all of them. And
Hmm.
we had a real good off season. At the end of the summer, Mr. Craig Elwood ran some skills and drills for the girls so they could get in the gym and start, playing basketball again. And I'd go and I'd watch, and week by week, we started to get more and more girls coming in. So I know Kara was spreading the word, and I think we had a real good buzz and vibe going on that, hey, listen, we could do something here. And I was
Hmm.
especially happy for the seniors because, their prior seasons were just not fun. I mean, they were getting beat by 30 and 40 points, and you're driving 30 to 45 minutes, sometimes over an hour, and you're getting, pounded by Somerset Berkeley or somebody over the Braga Bridge, and
Hmm.
then you got to get back on the bus. It's just that's not a lot of fun. I was proud and happy that the girls continued to come back. Because quite honestly, I would not have been surprised if some of them just said, "Hey, listen, this is just not worth it anymore." But they didn't, and they stuck with it, and we had a real good season. So
Yeah, no, absolutely. That was a lot of great information. Obviously, you alluded to like the 15-6. And good thing you brought up Craig Elmwood, because I think I had a chance to basically, when I was doing broadcasting for the local cable access, which we tried our best, broadcasting you guys' games and stuff. I think like him and I talked about, his daughter, what is he gonna do? What is she gonna do? I mean, Jordan Elmwood, she seems like she's like a superstar and she was only in eighth grade. Now she's going into her freshman year of high school. So, what's your thoughts on Jordan? Is she still gonna be in your program? Is she attending Wareham or is she going elsewhere?
Uh, Jordan is a phenomenal young lady.
Hmm.
Beyond basketball, she's comes in, she works hard, she does extremely well in school. She's a straight A student. Numerous accolades in the classroom, which obviously is most important. She comes in, she works hard. It's really a pleasure to have one of your best players working as hard as she does, and everybody else kind of has to kind of fall in line and follow suit. So in my conversations with Craig, at this point, he said that he would anticipate her probably definitely going to be here for ninth grade, probably 10th, and then they're going to reevaluate at that time. I
Hmm.
don't know. I certainly don't know as much as he does about the prep school scene, but from my understanding, that is typically where you'd go freshman year and then reclassify. I think a lot of the schools are now actually moving to a go spend 2 years at a public high school and then reclassify then. So, but as Craig says, I mean, nothing's ever set in stone. And,
Hmm.
she was our leading scorer this past year. She led the team in assists, and we didn't keep track on steals, but I would imagine that she was probably up there on that. She's always playing, typically their point guard, who's normally the better players on each of the opposing teams. So it was an absolute pleasure. I mean, I've seen her on the AAU circuit. I've watched her play for a couple of years. I knew she was a good player. Uh, Being able to coach her for the first time, and getting that whole other side of her to know, what type of person she is and how hard she works, and everything that she has attained at this point is based off of her work, because not that she's not a gifted young lady, she is, but she works her rear end off to get every
Hmm.
single thing that she has earned. So
No, absolutely. I mean, she seems like she's like a gritty player that does what, you ask for from the coaches and stuff like that. And for being in eighth grade and seeing her play, the games that I did for cable access, I was like, this kid looks like she's beyond her years. Like she looks like she could be like maybe a sophomore, junior, even a senior. Obviously, the height, obviously she'll be growing still because she's still a young lady. But another person that I did want to mention too was Johnny Tompkins. I mean, it seems like they're a 1A, 1B with Jordan and Johnny. So thoughts on Johnny, I should say. Sorry, I was getting confused.
yeah, no, Johnny is that. She's like our Swiss Army knife,
Yeah.
basically. I've had her play point guard, and I've had her play the five. So, her length and ball handling and everything she brings to the table is allows me to do a bunch of different things, which is great from a coach's standpoint. I can put her in the steal position on the press. I can put her on ball. I can,
Hmm.
there's a million different things I can do with her. She finishes with both right and left hand, to the point that sometimes if you were just watching, you're not even sure which hand she is. So um, she's a special athlete for sure, but another girl that's worked hard and spent some time on the AAU circuit as well. So the girls that you've mentioned have definitely honed their craft and continue to on that AAU circuit. And I realize that, that's not for everybody. Not everybody wants to play a particular sport year round, but it's not by accident that those girls tend to rise above the others, just because of the amount of work that they put in. So, we're actually fortunate. There are a couple of other girls that have picked up AAU these past couple of seasons. Gianna Hernandez is playing AAU. Lexi Gomes is playing AAU.
Another great player, actually, that you brought that up. She's another
Yeah,
gritty, like all over the court, basically player.
yeah, not so good news coming in on Lexi, unfortunately, and Mercedes Perry is actually another player that's a 10th grader that struggled a little bit with an
Hmm.
high ankle turn this past year.
Yep.
Kind of mid-season, she was really playing, really well. Had the ankle turn, missed 4 or 5 games, and then we only had a couple left. But I think she's gonna do a ton. This, if she stays healthy, she's gonna be a big addition in the overall scheme things this year. But yeah, Lexi is that's a tough one because I do think she's been accepted to go to UCT into their nursing program, which I believe she's going to.
Oh, wow.
Uh, yeah, and I don't
Great for
know.
her.
Yeah, I think that's probably a great decision for her.
Hmm.
Um, she's a great kid. I'll tell you, I coached her in my AAU program this past year. She's great to be around. Same thing, like you said, the
Hmm.
grittiness. Does whatever's asked of her, works hard, never quits. The thing about Lex is she's not afraid to make mistakes, and I think we've come to the agreement that like, hey, listen, you're 12, you're going to make mistakes. I don't want you out there
Hmm. You're still
not
young.
yeah, not doing certain things or being too timid out there. Like, go do them. Just make your mistakes at 100% effort, full speed, and we'll get through that. Like you're going to. You only have 4 or 5 years of basketball under your belt. I mean,
Hmm.
you're gonna learn. And she made some huge strides. Even in this AAU season, she was our point guard, and uh, it hurts a little bit that she's leaving us, but at the end of the day, we all want to do what's best for the girls, and if that's what they think is best, then I'm 100% committed to helping her do whatever she thinks is her best interest. But it definitely leaves a little bit of a hole, but that also leaves opportunities for other girls to step up and
Hmm.
start playing. So we'll see. But I'm really looking forward to it. I'll be honest. They're redoing the floor in the gym.
Oh, wow.
Uh,
Okay.
yeah, which is great. Not great that it's going to take a month because I don't
Ooh.
think I've ever sat still for a month without doing something basketball
Hmm.
wise in a long time. So chomping at the bit to get back in. I'm going to call over to the elementary school and hopefully they can let us in there and Craig's going to work with them. But we've been doing a lot of recruiting. Obviously, we need bodies. So you know, got a couple of incoming eighth graders that one has played a little bit, one hasn't played at all. Got a couple of softball players that are kind of on the fence about coming back. The 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 weird dynamic about Wareham is that there's a ton of girls that have played basketball but haven't played in 3 or 4 years,
Hmm.
and that's
That's tough.
basically yeah. But we need the bodies, obviously. So excuse me as my dog comes
Oh no, I'm
running
I'm
through
I'm a
here.
big dog guy. That's fine. I love
Yeah,
dogs.
he's good. Um, so like our entire JV team was made up of girls primarily that two or three had never played, but five or six of them hadn't played since fourth or fifth grade, and they
Oh,
weren't
wow.
in they weren't in eighth or ninth. They were a majority of them were in 10th grade.
Hmm.
So it had been 3 or 4 years since they had played basketball before. So credit to them for coming out and actually trying to get back into it. But until we can fix that junior program where the girls aren't just playing with the boys, because you know it's great that they have an opportunity to play, but we both know that at some point, the boys aren't passing to the girls, or you know, for whatever the reasons, it doesn't stick, and the girls end up, unfortunately, leaving the sport. And that'll be one of our responsibilities, myself and Coach King and Coach KB, to try and continue to drill, get that youth involved in basketball again, and try to get it to a level where we have enough girls, even if it's 3 or 4 teams, that they're playing other girls. So, and we ran a program last spring for the elementary school where we had 40 or 50 kids that were coming in. I'm sorry, last fall before the basketball season, they were coming in and over at the elementary school for 2 hours on Friday, and we were playing a ton of drills and games and different things like that. So problem is that that's third and fourth grade over there. Um, that's still 3 years away before we would even have a chance to get to
Hmm.
them. Um, and then even then, you're going to be up against, okay, well, in 3 years, where are these kids? Are they still in town? Are they going out of the schools? So I don't think we're facing anything else that anything that any other towns aren't facing.
Hmm.
But I obviously active on social media, and I'm friends with a bunch of different coaches and stuff. And I see, Fairhaven's running a summer camp, and they had some girls there, and Old Rochester obviously pulling from three towns. They ran a camp. They had a pretty good amount of girls. So I think that's going to be one of the issues that we're always going to be up against. Is I just don't know if we're going to have the overall numbers that these other schools have, which is fine. I mean, we'll try to do. Sorry about that.
No, you're fine.
We'll try to try to do the best we can with what we have, but we'll just have to see. And like I said, that'll be up to myself and the other coaches to try and make sure we drum up that interest from the girls to come out and play. So
So I know you alluded to they're working on the court at Wareham High School. You're trying to look for an alternative. Have you been talking to the players? Have they been active? Are they playing any summer leagues, summer camps? I don't know if AAU is throughout the summer usually. Can you talk a little bit about that?
yeah, absolutely. So most of them are. So they played into June. The girls that
Hmm.
were playing AAU. So that's only 3 to 4 weeks ago. At
Yeah.
best. Not um, the girls that weren't playing. I'm not really sure what they were doing at this point. The other thing that I have found is that girls have so many other things going on, whether it's they're working, a lot of these girls work even during the school year. For me,
Hmm.
one of the things that we had to nail down was, okay, what weekend day are we practicing because
Of work.
we work. And I'm like, okay, so that couldn't be Saturday this week, Sunday next week, 2 o'clock today. That couldn't happen. It had to be pretty much nailed down, which wasn't an issue. But the girls are interested in making money and saving for cars and
Yeah,
paying for gas,
absolutely.
insurance, all that
Priorities
kind
in
of stuff.
life.
Where boys are like, oh, I'll just walk and not have a job and I'll just go play basketball. So
Yeah, but
um,
still, you need to work.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, then on my end of it, I'm like, well, you're gonna have plenty of time to work over the course of your life, so you should
Yeah.
try to enjoy it while you can. But
Hmm.
so yeah, with the gym being closed, that's kind of hurt because Craig would open it up either one night during the week or Sunday morning and give them a couple of options, even if there was three or four of them at a time. But at least they're in there dribbling the ball and
Hmm.
getting some shots up. Um, and we haven't had that, unfortunately. And I know 100% that got us off to such a good start last season with Craig basically working. And Craig's very knowledgeable, good basketball mind. Um,
Absolutely.
so we ran an offense that he basically was just kind of teaching girls the motions and filling spots and keeping your spacing and things like that. So I'm hoping that by next month we can at least get back into the gym, and he'll start working with them hopefully. And then we have a couple of girls that are on that, like I said, on the softball circuit that are playing club softball all summer on the weekends. So and obviously even really good, as going outside right now over the last 2 weeks has just not not been an option.
Oh, I
Um,
know.
I don't we don't need anybody dropping out there,
No,
but
no heat strokes, please, no.
yeah, no. So it's been tough, but I'm looking forward to it. I think we still have a core group that we can we have a good run. I think for me personally, some of my goals for this upcoming season is we finished, like I said, 15-6 regular
Mhm,
season. I'd like to eliminate a couple more of those losses and have a little bit better record than what we had last season, regular season. I'd like to try to win our MAC division, which I think is completely doable. Westport's a tough um, team. Coach Jen over there is a phenomenal coach.
mhm.
So that'll be tough because they're in our division. Um, but yeah, I mean, overall, I want to make the state tournament again. I don't think that's out of reach, obviously. I'd love to be able to get a home game one way or the other, either by our overall record and finishing high enough, or we almost did it last year where we had the 11 wins and we were almost in that second tier play-in series
Mm.
where we might have even got a home game, which would have been great. But we had to go on the road and 90-minute drive and go play a real good team, and it was fine. We really, um, I thought we did really well considering that nobody had ever been in that situation, including me as a head coach. I mean, I'd been in a state tournament. And we've gone, I think with Bourne my last season, then we went to the final 16.
Oh, wow,
Um,
okay.
yeah, so but that's as an assistant coach. It's easy to be the assistant coach.
Yeah.
you can yell out a bunch of different things and then
Yeah.
coach gets blamed if it doesn't work. And
It's not
if
you,
it
it's
works,
him.
right,
Yeah.
if it works it's great. If you're lucky, he'll give you or she'll give you a little bit of you know, the
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 credit.
yeah, the credit
Yeah.
for it. Thank you. And
Yeah.
but when you're the head coach, and granted, I had great assistant coaches, but at the end of it, you're still making that call, which I
Mhm.
hadn't done. So my team hadn't been there. My Neither of my assistant coaches had been there, and I certainly hadn't been in that situation, making the final call on all that. So overall, I was very proud. I mean, I was happy, happy for my seniors to finally get a good season before they left. Um, very happy and looking forward to our future. Um, as we alluded to, spoke about earlier, I don't know how long that's going to be. If the plan as it's laid out to me right now stays constant, I'll have Johnny and Mercedes they'll be senior year, and Jordan will be in her sophomore year, which is when Craig had basically said
Mhm.
that's when they're going to reevaluate. So I've got a good couple of seasons ahead of us with a good core group, and we're filling in bodies on the side, and looking for some of the other girls to kind of step up and really fill roles. I mean, we had two senior starters and another one that played a ton of minutes. So you know, and Lexi's now, like I said, going to go to UCT. Jalen Rue is another girl that was,
Mhm.
she's also going to go to UCT. So we're going to have to piece, some stuff together and figure out who can fill those other two opening positions with, um, Johnny, Mercedes, and Jay Jordan. And but if we can keep the three of them rolling and fill in a couple of pieces, I think we're going to have another successful season.
Yeah, will you be are you going to be facing them at UCT, or are they just going to focus basically on school now? Are they still continuing their career,
I
Lexi and
think they're
Jaden?
Yeah, I think they're going to play. I
That's
hope
going to be
they
a
do.
little weird at
Well,
first.
I'm gonna be honest. I
Got to
messaged the
change up
UC,
the schemes and stuff like
well,
that.
I messaged the UCT coach to see if he wanted to play. I have not heard back from him.
Oh, okay. Still early.
Yeah, I don't think he's calling me, but but I will. Anytime we're not in the gym, I'm going to run over there and try to watch, both of them if they decide to
Hmm.
play. And like I told them, I'm just one of those guys that when you play for me, it's forever at that point. So, I mean, I still have a lot of conversations with kids I've coached in the past, and the boys and the girls, and
Hmm.
just actually played in a golf tournament for Bridgewater State that one of the kids that played for me at Born Travel, David Laney, he is a assistant coach at Bridgewater State,
Oh,
and
wow.
which I'm proud of that he went into coaching. And
Hmm.
there's another young lady, Emma Fenton, that I coached over at Bourne. She's coaching as well for us in our Bay State Elite AAU program, and she's also the assistant coach at Bourne at the JV level. So, um, so those are the type of things that I think that I'm most concerned with, is that these people just go on to be good people, and wherever that is great. And I told Lexi and Jalen that hey, listen, you got my number. If you ever need anything, you don't hesitate to call, because we've been together. We built a relationship. Wherever you choose to take that, and whatever you need me to help you to do to get to your goals, and wherever you want to be, you give me a call, and I'm happy to do whatever I can. So, um, because at the end of the day, they're still great kids. They
Hmm.
really are. That was one of the things that I think I was uh, not surprised, but happy that the girls were just so receptive to everything that we had to come in and say and implement. And they didn't really have to buy in, because we were the third group of coaches in 3 years that they were seeing. And like, I'm sure they were probably like, here we go again. Here's another group of guys and girls that'll come in, and they'll be here for a year, and then they'll be gone. And for me personally, I don't certainly don't want to do that. I mean, I'm very happy coaching at Wareham. It works. Um, I think the kids are great. We get plenty of support from the faculty, and Ed and Scott. And
Hmm.
I think we have an opportunity to be successful and kind of turn this entire program around. And we're already working on some things for next season. Some appreciation nights for past coaches. I think it's important for these girls to understand, because these girls have only looked in front of them and have seen losing.
Hmm.
I mean, that's all they know up until this past season. Um, so I think it's important for us to kind of revisit some of the past when the Wareham Lady Vikings were a very very good team in the South Coast Conference playing against very good competition, and some of those 1,000 point scoring names on that banner are girls.
Hmm.
Um, so I think we have an opportunity. I know Johnny's got an opportunity to hit 1,000 with us.
Oh,
Um,
wow. Okay.
maybe even as early as this upcoming season. She played as an eighth grader at Rising Tide. She played varsity, so she had a good chunk of points there, which I don't think anybody has really paid attention to. But I did reach out to them and got her numbers there because they do translate. They will transfer over, and they do count towards their overall high school career numbers. So,
Wow.
um, and then honestly, Jordan has the opportunity to not only hit 1,000, but I'd have to look and see who the all-time leading, not only just female scorer, but all-time leading scorer in Wareham basketball
Hmm.
history is. Because with the eighth grade jump now that we get, as with the eighth grade into high school, she's got 5 seasons to get a crack at it. I mean, I don't think I think 1,000 points honestly is,
It's
you
doable
know,
for sure.
I think it's yeah, I think it's done. I mean, she's only going to get better.
Hmm.
Um, so I think that's the 1,000 I think is wrapped up. To be honest, I mean, I don't want to put any bad juju on her right now, but um, but I think she has an opportunity to be an all time leading scorer at the school. But that's probably not where the priorities are either. But and again, she'll be the same situation when her time call comes and she has to make a decision what's best for her and her future. And I'm going to try to back her and her family on that, whatever they decide to do. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I know we're running short on time, but any final takeaways as you prepare for next season? I know it's still about 4 to 5 months away. Obviously, you want to get back to the gym, like you alluded to, get the girls together and prepare for the season. So, any
Yeah,
expectations you got so far?
yeah. I mean, one, I'd like to get them back in the gym and start
Yeah.
moving. If any of them ever see this, you pick up a ball and start dribbling it.
Even if
You
it's
know, I,
outside, I know it's been hot, as we mentioned, but just go to your local court, what is like park and just shoot hoops for like an
just
hour or
just
so.
just shoot, just
Hmm.
shoot. Forgive me, I don't even need an hour. Give me 20 minutes. 20
Yeah.
minutes every other day. Just just do something basketball related. Um, but I like to get them back in the gym. I like to get the same jump start we got on this season that we had on last season. And Craig and Jordan and some of the AAU circuits they're actually leaving on a. It's literally a full circuit now. They're going to Kentucky and then over to Indiana and Chicago, and it's a whole
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's pretty big.
yeah, it's big. So I'm hoping that in week and a half, 2 weeks, that will have finished, and then we can get everybody kind of back in the gym, and Craig will
Hmm.
take them, and Craig's good because he doesn't, he wants them in there too,
Yeah.
um, because he understands that we're only going to be as good as the time and effort we put into it. So um, I'm hoping that's step one is that we get back in the gym and start working. And then for the upcoming season, like I said, I mean, I'm going to sit down and try to figure out who our leaders are going to be and who our captains are going to be early. We're going to have some goals. I'm going to ask them for what their goals might be. I think incorporating some personal goals into the overall mix is important as well. Um, but there's no reason for us to have a letdown going into this season. The only way that'll happen is if we allow it. So.
No, I appreciate it, Coach Fortune, for you joining my podcast, and I'm glad. I know it took a couple months, but we both been busy with life and work and stuff like that. But I appreciate it, Coach, again.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ken, and appreciate all you guys, Christian, the whole team
Oh,
for
absolutely. Yeah, they're
for
great.
helping us this season. It's been fantastic.
Sounds good.